All right, good morning. It's still technically morning, so I can say that. Good morning, everyone. We have a great episode of the Tea Podcast today. We have a guest that is no stranger to Lafayette, but has traveled out in and out of Lafayette several times. He is a local woodworker here and a special type of woodworker. We'll talk about that in a minute, but his name is Daniel Barousse. You can look him up at barousseworks.com. So sit back, enjoy the show. And our presenting sponsor is Chase Group Construction. Chase Group takes the lead and becomes your one point of contact for the entire design build process. They have a diverse portfolio of projects that range from medical to popular restaurants like the Fat Pat's in Broussard and Bro Bridge, and to multi-unit shopping center developments. You can check them out at chasegroupconstruction.com. The website's on your screen, or if you need the website again, chasegroupconstruction.com. Check them out. Alrighty, so let me go ahead and activate that little split screen here, and there we go. So Daniel, it's good to have you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so we were talking a good bit right before we started about you and everything about Lafayette, but before we get too deep into going back into what we were talking about, go ahead and tell us a little bit about you. Obviously, you were born in Lafayette, 1989, which is a similar album name for Taylor Swift, which is interesting. But yeah, tell us a little bit about you and what makes you special in Lafayette.
I'm from here. I picked up a skateboard at age 11, and that pretty much was like the defining moment in my life. And since then, every single decision in my life has had skateboarding at the focal point. Fast forward to age, I was like 27 or 28. I was doing like my dream job as a sales rep for a skateboarding company. Then I convinced them to let me work remote full time to live in a van. They wanted me to do the entire western half of the U.S., and I had just come from a position where I was traveling 5 years for 80% of the time, and I was kind of burnt out on flying back and forth across the country.
Yeah.
So I thought of a way that I could do it and like have fun, and I wanted to basically live in a Sprinter van. So I convinced them to like let me work remote before that was a thing back in 2018. And I did, and I had like no woodworking experience, although I did have some pre-existing knowledge of woodworking from just like family stuff. And yeah, I bought a van sight unseen. I drove it for the first time. My first time was a 19-hour drive from Chicago to Lafayette. And I got on YouTube and started looking up how to do steps. And that was my first woodworking project. And I fell in love with woodworking during that process. And fast forward 7 months to living in the van, I got a call from my sales manager, and he let me know that the company I was working for had sold and everybody had got let go, or like 90% of the employees.
Oh,
no. I wasn't bummed. I was like living in a van. I was like, what a perfect time to get let go. I can go wherever I want.
Yeah.
So I went to Denver, Colorado. I was in Salt Lake City when I got the call. I drove to Denver, Colorado, where I had some friends, and I woke up at 3 a.m. with this crazy urge to bike across the country. And 5 days later, I did. I biked 1,000 miles in 12 days by myself from Denver, Colorado to Austin, Texas. And I used every waking moment of that ride to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And I basically started backwards. I was like, all right, if you're a billionaire and you could do whatever you want, you don't have any like sort of limitation on your time, how would you want to spend your time? And I was like, okay, I'd want to skateboard every day, but I couldn't think of how to make, I'm like a good skateboarder, but I'm not at the professional level. So I was like, that doesn't seem like an option. At the time, I was like, I love riding my bike, but I didn't see how I could make money doing that. And now I do, which is kind of crazy. And then I thought back to building my van. I was like, man, every single day that I was working on my van, I lost track of time. Like I just forget to look at my phone. I'm just so invested in what I was doing. So I reached out to a friend who was making stuff with skateboards, which I had definitely had interest in. I'd made a few things out of skateboards, but nothing significant. And I said, hey man, like you're doing stuff. He was doing really good work, but it was like smaller items out of skateboards. And I basically was like, hey, I know how to make big stuff. I was like, we should combine our forces. I was like, I also have a really good business mindset. Like, let's combine our forces and see what we can do. So we did. That was on the bike ride. And he was like, yeah, dude, hit me up when you get back to Denver. And he's like, you're crazy for doing this bike ride. So I did. I went back to Denver and I started working with him. And 10 days later, we produced our first table. And it sold in 30 minutes for like a couple grand, which split between two people over the course of 2 weeks is nothing, but it was a start.
Yeah.
And then we did that for like 7 months and we were super busy. And I got to a point where I had this pull to come back home and I was interested in a lady that I was dating at the time that lived here. And I talked to my partner at the time and I was like, hey dude, I'm kind of at the point where I either want to sell my van and invest like fully into this and just go all in, or go back home and start my own thing. And I don't want to do anything without talking to you first. And he was like, dude, honestly, if I was you, I would go back home. So that's what I did. I came back home and started making small stuff, and fast forward to now, and I haven't caught up to orders in like 3.5 years. I'm booked out for like 7-8 months, and I just, as of this morning, I'm the most followed recycled skateboard artist in the world on Instagram.
All right.
Kind of cool.
Okay. There's a lot here.
Yeah, for sure.
Real quick, pick up the mic a little bit for you. There you go. Okay. So what year did you say that you started the bike ride?
That was 2018. That was stupid to bike across West Texas in July, but it was July of 2018. Yeah, that's when I built the van the last 3 months of 2017. I finished it January 23rd of 2018. I spent the first night in my van January 27th, 2018. And then I lived in it for a year and a few months. And then, yeah.
And your full-time job was sales for a skateboard company.
Correct. Yeah. I was the, director of sales for the western half of the US for a brand, several brands. I had like, depending on the brand, I had different territories, but it was mostly the central US. For one brand, it was the entire western half, everything left of the Mississippi. And I'd come from working for Volcom, which is an action sports brand, skateboarding, surfing, snowboarding. And the 5 years that I worked for them, I was just traveling. Like I loved it. That's what I wanted to do until it got old, if that makes any sense. I don't know if you ever
traveling for work though.
Yeah, but like, dude, I made it fun. And my job was sick. Like it wasn't a normal job. You know, I was like, some days you have to go snowboarding with an account. Okay.
Yeah.
Bummer.
I know. Totally
bummer. But
still.
still, like I got tired of the constant traveling because I didn't really get to appreciate my home. And I lived in Austin, and that's like my favorite city in the world. And I couldn't be there. And it little issues like, you know, like I'd meet somebody that I would become friends with, and then I wouldn't be able to see them. And then like the relationship would kind of like fizzle because I wasn't, you know, out of sight, out of mind type deal. But
when did you, okay, so being born in Lafayette, I might have missed it because there's a lot that you had said and I can't scrub backwards real quick.
Okay.
So when did you say that you moved out of Lafayette?
So I moved out of Lafayette right after high school. I was 18. I moved to Baton Rouge to go to LSU.
What, 2010-ish?
No, that was 2007.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. I should have figured. My wife, she was born in 91, so she graduated in 09. I was just trying to get the rough math there. Forgive me, doing math in my head is not good.
No, I went to LSU. I finished there with a degree in international business, and then I got hired by my dream, like exactly what I wanted to do my whole life. I got hired by Volcom. They wanted me to move to Austin, Texas, and I didn't care. I could have gone anywhere. I just wanted to like do stuff.
Yeah. So what about Austin, Texas attracted you? Like, why Austin? Because I mean, everybody talks about Austin, but why?
At the time, nothing. I didn't know anything about it. Like I'd been there one time on a skate trip, and I was hurt, so I couldn't really even skate. I was just the van driver. So at the time, nothing, but that's where they wanted me. And then after I moved there, I was like, dude, this is amazing. I love this place. It was like the first time ever in my life that I fit in, which was weird for me because normally I'm like,
But you were a weird kid? I mean, I'd
no,
say
just
fitting
like
in.
as a skateboarder,
Okay, yeah.
any subculture, if you're an artist skateboarder, like living in South Louisiana where
Yeah,
like
you're different.
football reigns
Yeah.
supreme, like that wasn't I just, that was weird, but then it was so cool because like there was all this infrastructure for the things that I like to do. There was skate parks everywhere. There was nature that you could go and like you can go to nature here, but if you're not fishing or hunting, you're not going to go hiking in the swamp.
Yeah, you almost need a kayak wherever you go.
100%. Like there, it was like, there were swimming holes and people were open-minded and there was healthy food everywhere. Like there's like 2 places I eat here, dude.
Healthy food?
Yeah, healthy food, like tasty.
Never heard of
food.
it.
Yeah, welcome to Lafayette. But yeah, I lived there, and after living there, I just realized like all these great things. Like people are courteous of cyclists. There's bike lanes everywhere. You could go hike. People are health conscious. Like they're always outside. There's good food, skate parks. The music scene was cool, but like I'm not super into that. But that was just cool to be around. People that are just like forward thinking and not afraid to be themselves. I love that.
So you said that there were only 2 places roughly that you eat in Lafayette.
There's a few, but there's 2 that I frequent a lot. Yeah.
Are you able to name the places?
Sure. I go to Poseidon's like all the time. I love Poseidon's. Greek. Yep, Greek food. I go to Taco Sisters. That's the 2 that come to my head right now.
Taco Sisters. I had Taco Sisters yesterday. Me and a friend of mine, we go there at least once a week. In fact, he goes way more than I do. They have the little points where you can like get, a free meal after so many points.
Yeah.
And he racks up on them. And I'm like, dude, we turned ours in at around about the same time. And he's already like redeemed another round. And I'm like barely even halfway to my next round. I'm like, whatever, dude, you come way too much. But like he comes with his family and all this stuff after we do lunch. So like he eats there a lot. But, I've never been to Poseidon's. I do like Greek food, though.
So good. You can throw a dart on that menu and you can't miss. Okay. Everything is amazing. I love that place. And the staff, everybody that works there is super cool. They're all like friends outside of work. And that translates into really good service.
Yeah.
And just like a welcoming atmosphere. So, yeah, shout out Poseidon's.
Yeah, yeah. I go to Shawarma Guys. I don't know if you've ever been there.
I'm sure that's the one by Albertsons on Johnston.
Yeah, they started out of New Iberia.
Okay.
And then they expanded into Lafayette, and they have a location in Karen Crow. But really good. And I get the spicy chicken wrap. It's my go-to, and it hits every time. But yeah, no, I don't want to keep talking about food because I know it's almost lunchtime, or it is lunchtime, and
I might have to hit up Poseidon's.
I know, right? Okay, so talking about Austin, you moving away from Lafayette, now you're back in Lafayette. Before we went on, we were talking about how Lafayette is, for the lack of better words, not that cool. It's cool, but not that cool. There's some things that are cool. There's some things that are not. And we were talking about wanting cool things here and having cool people to be able to do cool things.
Sure.
You seem like a cool guy doing cool things, and that's one of the major reasons why I wanted you to come on to the podcast, because I think the first time I heard about you was whenever the news came out about your skating invitational, the Barousse Works Invitational that's happening in downtown soon. I think early October, right?
October 7th. Yes, sir.
And whenever I heard about it, and I was like, who's this Daniel guy? Like, I'll be honest, I thought you were an out-of-town skate like enthusiast or something that was like passing through the Lafayette area and was like, hey, I'm connect with Lafayette Travel, because I saw Lafayette Travel was a sponsor. And I'm like, okay, he's definitely like this either skateboard blogger or something like.
No, grew up past them all, dude.
But it's so weird to think, because like I was like, I've never heard of this guy. You're not that much younger than me. I mean, I was born in 86. You were born in 89. Though I've only lived here for, just over a decade. And so I still have a lot of people that I'm still figuring out and who they are and that they even exist here. But whenever I looked you up, and especially your Facebook page, I didn't go to your Instagram, but your Facebook page has a decent following, like over 50,000 followers, which I was like, he's like right up there with me. And if you're up there that high, you're doing something cool, cool enough, in my opinion. I mean, because the average in Lafayette, as far as Facebook goes, is 15, 20,000. Like if you got 15 to 20,000 followers on Facebook in Lafayette, you're making waves enough to be seen. But
I don't know how many of them are local, but
they may not be. Yeah, right.
Because I definitely touch people like all over the world.
Yeah, and that's a good point to make. So I wanted to bring you on so that we can talk about what you're doing with that, and it's a really cool thing that's happening in downtown. There were some people in the comments section. Of course, it's social media. You're always going to have that where they were like, oh, this is, skateboarder stuff, blah, blah, blah. The small-minded people talking about stuff. We were talking about small-minded people. So what about Lafayette, and this is kind of where I'm going, is not cool, and what about Lafayette is cool, in your opinion?
There's a way bigger list of what could make Lafayette cool than the list that makes it uncool. But the list that makes it uncool is just like right in everybody's face all the time. Like, dude, you can go to any restaurant in Lafayette and you could probably find like 5 or 6 things on the menu that don't exist anywhere in the world other than here.
Yeah.
That's huge, dude. That's crazy. That means we have like something that nobody else has to offer.
Because we're so food centric.
We're food centric, but we're also a melting pot of like, so like Cajun is a mixture between like South African, or I don't even know if it's South, it's African cuisine mixed with like French cuisine. Yeah, it's a really
the Creole Cajun culture mix.
Yeah, super weird eclectic mix.
Because I think Creole's South African based, or I guess it's South African based, and then obviously you guys can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. And then Cajun,
that comes from Nova Scotia.
The Nova Scotia area of Canada, and then, of course, settling here. So, and then Creoles settled majority in New Orleans with Spanish, and then, then we all started mixing around, and then now it's like the Cajun Creole culture. So it's kind of hard to almost differentiate what's Cajun and what's Creole.
Yeah,
so
it's like the same to me. I'm sure it's not to everybody if there's like whatever.
Oh, yeah, you have your people that are purist, and
to me, it's kind of like that makes it cool. And then Southern hospitality is a super real thing. I've traveled all over the world extensively, and you don't if you and I don't know each other and I go to a gas pump and I see you at the pump across from me, like I could crack a joke to you and you'll laugh and we could have like a micro conversation and then go on our way, and I don't expect to get anything from you and you don't expect to get anything from me.
Chances are we'll never see each other
Never again. Well, it's Lafayette. I'll probably see you tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
But if you go to like California and you do that, people will think you're trying to get something from them.
Oh yeah,
and that's that's totally like a Southern thing. So
especially in the north, the Northeast too, like near New York.
Oh yeah, they
don't say hey to anybody.
No, they don't have time. Yeah, it's weird. So that makes it really special. I think like just our landscape, like, dude, we got like alligators, like all over the place. Like we have nutria, like just, I know that's not like what people think of as like the prettiest things, but like I think it's beautiful because
it's unique.
Yeah, it's unique, dude. Like cypress trees, man. I love cypress trees. Like
you being a woodworking guy, I mean, you probably adore cypress.
I love cypress, dude. You can't really get it anywhere else. There's like the southeast portion of the U.S. and that's kind of it, man. All that stuff makes it special. Some of the things that make it kind of a bummer is like the median income here is like 35 grand or something. It's like, or average income, so the mean. But that contributes to people feeling like they don't have enough. And then that lack mindset leads to like a small-minded mindset where people think they just like, this is it. There's not more to the world.
Yeah.
Self-limiting. Yeah, for sure. But like, one of the other things that makes it really cool is like, because of that, there's this crazy, like, nah, I could do it myself mentality that doesn't exist elsewhere. Like people in Lafayette, these Cajun DIY fuckers are so sick, dude. They're so sick. Like you go to, you can pop into like anybody's house and you could see something that they made or altered or are working on. And it's just like, that mindset, like, no, I could do it myself. People don't like champion that enough, but like that makes Lafayette super cool. I think our lack of like outdoor things, you know, like if you like think of like activities that you do in Lafayette, almost always it involves drinking and food.
Oh yeah.
It's like,
if you're not on the back porch drinking, boiling crawfish, you're not doing anything in Lafayette.
Kinda, you know, and it's
it feels like that.
If you go to another city, it's like, yo, do you want to go bike? There's bike lanes all over the place, you know, and people are courteous. Like I'll bike down Johnston and there's a bike lane, but people like honk at me like I'm doing something wrong. I'm like, I mean, dude, this is a road.
And what's crazy is I lived in the country of Evangeline Parish, and it's all country actually. I don't even
know where that is. I should know where that is. I learned it at one point.
You know where Ville Platte is, right?
Kinda.
Okay, so if you go on I-49, you travel north for about 45 minutes.
Okay.
It's right off I-49 for about 20 minutes into the woods.
Okay. Okay.
But basically the highways there, like the shoulders are big enough to drive a car on.
Yeah.
And so my brother and I, before we moved here, we would ride our bikes to the next little town, which is 7 miles away. And I would do that every other day. And I loved it. And then I got the opportunity to move to Lafayette to do what I actually love to do, which was graphic design. And I had gotten a job here at a sign shop. And of course, moved here, got fired, and had to move on and figure out how to stay here without doing graphic design. And then trying to do graphic design, it's a weird kind of thing. But riding bikes in that country setting, I missed that. And whenever I moved here, we had my girlfriend and I, we had some bikes, and we live in the Karen Crow area. And so we went on the frontage road where all Super One is and all that stuff is now, but it wasn't there whenever we were riding our bikes. And so you could actually ride your bike on the frontage road without getting hit or killed or whatever. And now I wouldn't even want to drive or ride a bike on the frontage road. Like the people are just, you're going to get hit. Yeah. It's just,
well, if you don't get hit, you might get some like, it's just like the mentality, like people, like I noticed it because I cycle all over the place.
Yeah.
Man. Like I've cycled all over literally, like when I travel, I cycle, you know, I go to Tokyo, I'm cycling. If I go to France, I'm renting a bike, you know, wherever I bike all over the place. And you definitely see there's this like huge disparity between, if you're like cycling in Colorado, people will swerve so far away from you and throw the peace sign up and like wish you well. Here, they're like, get out of the road. You know what I mean? Like you're a nuisance. And it's like, dude, it's this mentality, you know, it's like, that's one of the things that's like, I don't like, but it comes from like, there's really not much infrastructure here to do stuff.
No,
like
there
we
isn't.
just got our first, like other than Girard Park, we just got like a good park. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. You're talking about Moncus Park?
Yeah. Moncus is amazing, but it's like, dude, how was that not here 30 years ago?
Oh, let me tell you about that situation. So Moncus Park, you know what? Let me get my sponsors in real quick. We got deep into the conversation. We'll start talking about Moncus Park in just a second and what they're doing and the whole issue with where I'm going with this is. Trust me, you're gonna enjoy it. But okay, so you see our logos at the bottom. Our next sponsor is the Music Academy of Acadiana. So they are able to help you unleash your musical potential with learning, you know, any instrument from piano, guitar, voice, drums, violin, flute, saxophone, audio production. So if you want to learn music, you can definitely hit these guys up. They have an experienced instructors that cater to students of all ages and styles. You can graduate. The graduates of Music Academy of Acadiana have excelled in college and major music competitions and had even made it to on popular TV shows like American Idol and The Voice. It's founded by UL Lafayette Music School graduate Tim Benson. They've won national recognition and are consistently voted as a top music school since 2016. Their goal is to make music lessons fun, educational, and to help foster the next generation of musicians and creative thinkers, because we need more of that here. And you can check them out at musicacademyacadiana.com. Their website is on the screen. But yeah, just Google them, musicacademyofacadiana.com. And then we have Electronic Protection Systems, also known as EPS. They are a 20-year-old company here offering home security, total home security, and they also just started offering whole home water conditioning solutions. So if you have foul smelling or tasting water at your house, or if your water is really hard, these systems help you clean up your water, and you can have nice, clean, purified water. They have several plans where you don't have to pay anything down, no out-of-pocket expenses for equipment, no long-term contracts, month-to-month services. The security is 24/7 professionally monitored for like $20 a month. So if you have your own equipment, or if you pay it off or buy it outright, it'll only cost you $20 a month. And yeah, so the water, I mean, your water can smell better, taste better. Look, I can go on and on about these guys. We started talking about them sponsoring a while back because I have all of their products at my house, and this is before they even wanted to sponsor the podcast, because they told me that they normally don't advertise, but they are advertising with us on the podcast. So really appreciate those guys. You can check out more information about them at the website that on the screen here. It's link.developinglafayette.com/EPS, or you can just go to their website, eps-online.com, or you can give them a call at 337-232-2487. All right. And let's talk about more about what makes Lafayette cool, not cool, all that. So mentioning Monkus Park, I recently posted that yesterday, actually, that Monkus Park was getting a new addition to their park. It's a large breed dog park.
Oh, right.
So they have,
Weird.
Yeah. So they have a small breed
Crazy
dog
that
park.
we have 2 dog parks, don't have a skate park yet. Rain has a skate park. Not Rain. Church Point has a skate park. St. Martinville has a skate park. New Iberia has a skate park. Baton Rouge has a skate park.
Everywhere around us has a skate park.
Lafayette does not have a skate park. It's
We
insane.
apparently had several, and they all got mowed down for apartments and other developments.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. We're about to get one. We just got $500,000 in funding last year.
Are you talking about for Thomas?
It will be at Thomas Park.
Yeah,
Yep.
Thomas Park, yeah.
Yeah, that should be breaking ground this month.
Does it have an official name?
Lafayette Skate Park.
Okay.
That's the only name it should have, honestly.
Yeah. And I've seen the renderings, and I think the renderings were still in development, and so they were constantly changing. But the latest ones that I've seen, it looks great.
Yeah, the last ones that I saw should be really good. The guy who designed it, I think his name is Tito. He designed, I've been to hundreds of skate parks all over the globe, and one of the best ones I've ever been to in my life is Lot 11 in Miami, Florida. And he designed that one. So, and I also saw another park. I skated another park 2 weeks ago in Panama City, Florida, that he designed. It's really good. So okay. I have full faith, and there's a local skate park builder, William Effinger, that's building it. So I think he's gonna go above and beyond and make sure that we have something good.
I need to get those guys to come on and talk about that. That'd be
you
cool.
should get William. William's cool, dude. He's
okay.
sick human.
Yeah, and then you also have Udi Bio, who just built the indoor skate park.
Magnolia.
Yeah,
dude,
Magnolia,
Udi's
LA.
a legend. Udi actually, I'm going to go ahead and give it to him. He's put in more work than anybody to bring a skate park here. And he was 100% responsible for the one that we had previously that was mowed down to make a parking lot at UL. So Udi is, shout out Udi. If you care about skateboarding, BMXing, anything of that sort, definitely go check out Magnolia Skate Park, because Udi is a legend.
Yeah, and I think he's officially open.
He is, yeah. He's had all sorts of issues though. The city's given him a challenging time, but he's a G, and he's gonna persevere. So
yeah. They were giving him a hard time about having the half pipe.
Yeah, that was an issue, and then now he's got to he's putting a parking lot in the front, and they're making him build drainage into it.
Yeah,
which is
I know, crazy.
It's poor dude, but he's a G, and he'll make it.
Yeah, he's gonna do good. He's been grinding it since the beginning. So. But yeah, Monkus Park, so interesting. Every time I post about Monkus Park, there's a select group of people, and it's not always the same person, but it's always this type of group of people that come into the comments and are just butthurt over...
About Monkus?
Yeah.
About it being there?
Butthurt over Monkus Park, and not because of it being a park per se. I think they've been misled, or they think that they've been misled by one direction, and I think that they have been misled by another direction. So they feel as though they've been bamboozled, that this Lafayette Park, the Lafayette Central Park was what it was originally called before it was called Monkus Park. They believed that it was a city park. It was Lafayette's park, freely accessible. It's still freely accessible, but the issues really came rolling through when Monkus Park said, "Look, we have limited parking."
Yeah, the paid parking is crazy. I shouldn't be, but I didn't. I'm guessing you're getting to the fact that it's a private park.
Yeah, so it is managed privately with a nonprofit.
Okay.
The parking is crazy. I mean, but
it's crazy that I mean, I understand that if it's private, but dude, it's on Front Street, Johnson Street. You know, it's like the middle of the city. We shouldn't have to pay to go to a fucking park.
Look, and I do agree with that.
But I also agree with, if it's like somebody put up however many millions to make this happen, like they need some type of a return on their investment to where they're not just like forking over dough, all the time.
So I
get both sides.
And so this is where I think people are getting confused is the way the park was acquired. Lafayette City, back in Joey Durrell's administration, bought the property from UL because it was a UL horse farm.
Correct. And
Joey Durrell and the administration bought the property from UL in partnership, I think public-private partnership with Elizabeth Brooks, who was the one that spearheaded the whole Monkus Park thing in the beginning. She is a self-proclaimed tree hugger. She and Joey and the organization that was formed around it kind of led that direction to acquiring the land and building this park. And it was always, from the beginning, going to be a park that was ran by a nonprofit, not the city. It wasn't going to be a taxpayer-funded, managed park. It's not.
What's the nonprofit? Where do they get their funds from?
Donors, private donors, and parking fees that goes into their revenue.
It's got to be such a small number. Like, I feel like it's almost like you talked about the only way to eat an elephant is like one bite at a time. Like that's got to be like just the toenail.
And look, and it's a little bit, but according to the last number I've heard, they need $1 million a year, I believe a year, to manage the entire park.
Dude,
I don't like
how.
I don't know if that was the official number.
How many employees do they have there daily?
I don't know, but like keeping the grounds mowed. I mean I don't know how much.
Like, let's do the math here. Like, are there 20 employees making $50,000 a year that work there every day?
There are several employees. So there's event coordinators because they have events there.
Okay.
They have marketing team. It's not a big team.
Does it cost money to have events there?
Certain events are, I think, have a cover, but I think most of them don't.
$1 million seems crazy. I wonder how much the property taxes are. That's probably a large.
I mean, it's 100 acres.
Yeah, it's probably a large. It's like commercial. It's like prime spot Lafayette.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine the property tax, but $1 million sounds super high, dude.
That sounds really I think I could be corrected.
You're probably not incorrect. It's probably what they're saying, but I feel like if you like dollars and cented it,
But maybe. going back to the original thing is they have to have so much money and revenue coming in to make sure the park is ran because with it not being taxpayer funded. So the bathrooms are clean. Mm-hmm. If you go to another park that's city funded, the bathrooms are probably not.
No, that park is really nice. Like, I'm super thankful for it. So however I'll pay to park, but it's just like, dude,
I know. And you don't, if you have other means of transportation, like let's say you ride a bus, or if you take an Uber, or if you take a bike, or if you skateboard there, it's free access. Mm-hmm. You only need to pay if you bring a huge chunk of metal of a vehicle and take up a limited parking space.
Yeah, I get that. It's just kind of crazy that like we have one other nice city park at Girard Park, and that's sometimes that can be questionable.
I agree,
but I'm definitely thankful for it. But the whole thing was like that is kind of an uncool aspect of Lafayette. Like there's that now we have something to go do outside, but there's not much, it's like food and drink, a lot of times. And I mean, let's be honest, like Louisiana is like number 48 or 49 on the health scale. Pretty consistently. And it's like, dude, that's a part of it. That's part. There's nothing there's not much for people to do here that doesn't involve alcohol and food. And I think as a city, as like a community, like we need to change that because, if you want to invest in your future, then you need to invest in your future, the children, and like give them something to do outside, and that's like sunlight, proper healthy food, clean water. Those are like the three most important things. And I think, I don't know about the water, but like healthy food is hard to come by sometimes. And then having like healthy activities to do outside, it's kind of hard to, find that. That's what made me pick up skateboarding. Like part of the reason, I was like, dude, there's not much to do.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm thankful for it because not having much to do, I was like, oh, okay, I got a skateboard. And I was like, well, I don't need a team. I don't need to practice. Like I can just go outside every day and do this and get my energy out, Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want to harp on Monkus Park too much, but going back briefly on it and posting that they were getting a large dog breed park, on top of needing a permit to bring your dog there because they have to make sure that they are, what do you call that, vaccinated and all that good stuff. So your dog, because if you're mingling with other dogs, they want them to be.
That's so weird. But whatever.
But I mean, apparently there's a law in it. I don't know.
It's weird
for a dog park. But see, this is one of those things where I think Monkus Park is a really cool aspect of Lafayette.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. I'm there often. I'm very appreciative for
it. If the things that are happening at Monkus Park with, the paid parking and all the other things, and the people at Monkus Park really, they don't want paid parking. They know it's a.
I get it. You need it. If you're shelling out, like if it costs $1 million, then like, yo, dude, try to like minimize that cost. I understand it. It's just a bummer that it's like, that's our nicest city park, or not city park, but that's the nicest park in the city, and it's like something that deters people a little bit.
They know, and they have free days. So there's like I think Monday, I think Sunday maybe. There's like certain days where it's free, and they're adding parking pretty soon. They're going to be building a pavilion, and that's starting soon. But so additional parking will be had. And I don't know if it's paid. It might be. I don't know, but. Whenever the park was announced that they were going to be doing this, and I was in the front line of helping them kind of get the information out there. I think it was like 2012, 2013 when I first started this page. I was super excited about it because other than Girard Park, I was like, we don't have a large property that's expansive like this besides Girard Park that, we can run around, we can
it's great.
Bike on.
Yeah, I love it. I'm not taking anything away from that. I'm not speaking negatively of that at all, other than the fact that it's just a bummer that you gotta. But like I'll pay every day for that to be there. If I had to like pay out of my pocket monthly, I would.
Yeah, I mean, and just I think a lot of it's maintenance, just keeping the park up, keeping the what is it, the splash pad and all the park stuff for the kids. Mm-hmm. Working and clean in the bathrooms and all that stuff, it all costs. And so with it, I think that's one thing that makes Lafayette just a little bit cooler than, because, there are some people that are never going to move out of Lafayette. I mean, they've been here for all their life. They're going to die here. And to have something like this and to be able to enjoy it, whether you do have to pay to park or not, is a really cool aspect because it's almost like a little taste, a small taste of what other cities have that Lafayette didn't have.
For sure.
So yeah, it's one of those things where going back to talking about how people complain, and at least you didn't say complain, I say complain. People complain about this park for one reason or another, whether it be the parking or the taxes, or however that's managed. I just think it's one of those things where why do we need to complain about it when it's just... Whatever. I like cool things. I don't know.
For sure. But I'm thankful it's there. I'm thankful. It's just like that helps Lafayette get cooler. But yeah, I'm trying to make Lafayette cooler.
Yeah. Sure. So speaking of you, I know let's get off of Monkus Park because I'm pretty sure I'm going to be eaten alive in the comments for that. You have some really cool images, and I'm going to pull those up in just a second here. So the first one is this love sign, this love monument.
Oh, yeah. So that was made for Ruckus in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. It was a partner. So I made that, and Nike SB paid for it to be showcased in Ruckus in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. It's made from like 310 recycled skateboards. And it's an ode to Love Park in Philadelphia, which is like a real famous skate spot that we put our spin on with the state of Louisiana being the L. It's like 6 foot 6 inches tall, and bunch of skateboards.
Okay, so let me do this here, and then. All right, so this right here is a picture. Is that you on the skateboard jumping over what looks like an office chair?
So that is one of the coolest things that we get to do. That is at Red Bull's Terminal Takeover, where they actually, the old MSY New Orleans Airport Terminal, they rent it out and they turn it into a skate park for 3 days.
With the old terminal in New Orleans?
Yeah, and they actually, it's crazy, like the permitting, the red tape they had to go through to get that. But they basically let us, they bring in skate shops from all over the Southeast. And it's kind of wild. They like make skate parks in this old terminal and give us the aux cord. And they're just like, here, go skate with your friends, produce content. And then the internet votes on who has the best content. And the winner gets the money. And that's from that, which is super. So that's actually in the old ticketing check-in at MSY.
That is crazy.
And I'm hauling over 2 benches.
Yeah, okay. So I see it now. Yeah, it's airport benches.
Yep.
Are they going to keep the facility up for that, or is there plans to demolish it? Because, I mean, that...
There are plans to demolish it, but I think I know we're doing it again this year, and I don't know how long it's going to stretch. I know they had like a 3-year contract initially, and then they're doing it again this year, but I think there's a lot of red tape to demolish it because it's attached to an active tarmac. With that being said, they built a new Lafayette terminal and demolished the old one instantaneously, so maybe not. I think right now they've been monetizing it for like movie productions and then for this, which is, it's definitely one of the coolest things that I get to do as a skateboarder. Shout out Red Bull for that one.
And then this is just another shot of the monument that you had made, and that's, I guess, you leaning on it. Yeah. Okay, this right here is one of the tables that you've made.
Yes, I don't think I've touched on that. So everything that I make, so my living, I'm an artist. You said a woodworker, like I am, but like I claim artist. But
okay.
Everything that I make is made 100% or incorporating recycled skateboards. So I work with skate shops. Whenever I was a sales rep, I built relationships with skate shops all over the country. And when I started doing what I'm doing now, to basically just like, all right, there's all these skateboards. Like every time a kid gets a new skateboard, the wooden part, they throw it away and it just ends up in the trash. So there's this like surplus of trash, but there's a way that you can take that trash and upcycle it into usable lumber and then make art with that. So that's what I do. So everything that everybody's seeing here is made from recycled skateboards. So all the colors, like if you pick up a skateboard, there's going to be 7 layers of hard rock maple, 7 plies. And usually at least one of those plies is a dyed color. I don't know why they do it. Like I don't know who started it, but when you laminate them, meaning to put a bunch of them together, it produces this like crazy rainbow effect and you get these colors. And when you see like some of those like some of my tables have like pieces from hundreds of skateboards in them, you get this just like explosion of color.
Yeah, I love it.
Thank you.
So you're an artist. I called you woodworker because that was like the simplest form.
You can, but I'll never, I mean, like I am a woodworker, but like it's
art.
Most woodwork. Yeah. All right. If you're a woodworker, you go and you buy your lumber and you create your pieces. Like I make my lumber.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a little different. Like I make my lumber and then go through the milling process and to milling it into dimensional lumber. And then I make art with it. And that's what I do full time. Okay.
So I kind of want to go a little bit into the how do you go back to how you acquire the excess used skateboards. So like you have contracts or like relationships with people that provide all the used skateboards. So like all these skate shops, they just collect them and say, hey, this is.
So typically if you go to a skate shop, like if you go to Ruckus downtown in Lafayette right now, there's like probably a stack of 8 to 12 old skateboards that when somebody gets a new board, they discard their old one. And those just end up in the dumpster most of the time. Sometimes a kid will come in and be like, oh, this skateboard's still usable, and they'll take an old one, save some money instead of buying a new one. But most of the time they end up in the dumpster. Well, I work with like skate shops all over the country, and they just, instead of throwing them in the dumpster, they just stack them up, save them for me. When they have enough to ship, they ship them to me. I pay for shipping, so they're not out any money. And then I make stuff. And a lot of the times I make stuff for those skate shops. I'm always doing something for some skate shop somewhere. It keeps me in skateboarding. It keeps me, like, all those guys are my friends. It's who I want to talk to. It's like, there's not that many people that are nerdy enough about skateboarding to make it their whole life. So it's like, if they own a skate shop, chances are they are nerdy enough about skateboarding. Yeah. So those are the people I want to hang out with and do business with anyway. So it keeps me like in that world, which keeps my heart and soul happy.
So what is the process in a short, sweet form to getting the used skateboard and then processing it to create one of your pieces? So like, it looks like a lot of work.
It's a ton of work. It's a ton of work. It's a shitload of work for sure. Just to get, so the process, first you have to get the skateboards, which if you don't have those relationships, like, good luck.
Yeah, right.
But you can totally find them, or if you're a skateboarder, you can save them up. But first is to get the skateboards, and then every single skateboard, you have to remove the grip tape off. So the grip tape is basically sandpaper on the top of a skateboard that's held down with an adhesive. So you have to peel it off. You use a heat gun, and like, we have a system where we remove it. It's still time consuming. And then you have to remove all the sticky residue from the top of the board. And then you have to take all the stickers off the bottom. And then you have to take an angle grinder and you have to grind away the clear coat on the top of the skateboard and all the paint on the bottom to where it's exposed raw lumber. Then you can glue them together, which you need to have a special press to do. And then you can cut them. Like, basically you would cut a log and mill it into, which is a whole giant process in itself. And then once you do all that, you have usable lumber, and then you can start the process of making like a wooden, piece of furniture. So It's like, that's why I always say artist, because like, there's this 80% of my job is like making lumber. It's like most of my job consists of like time spent making my lumber before I make the first cut. And even the smallest piece takes like an astronomical.
Yeah.
So if you look at like some of the prices I have on there, it seems high, but when you look at actually what goes into it, it's really not.
So this set of 3 tables here, what would one of these tables go for?
A little over $3,000.
Okay.
Yeah, a little over $3,000, but like, I've done pieces that are upwards of $15,000. So it's just like dependent. I'm working on for the event downtown, I'm making a $30,000 dining table. It's the largest one ever created from skateboards in the world. And we're going to skateboard on it. We're going to shut down Jefferson Street in Lafayette. We have 18 skate shops coming in from all over the country, anywhere from 75 to 100 skateboarders that'll be skating it, competing for cash prizes. And it's sponsored by Red Bull, Downtown Lafayette, and Lafayette Travel, as well as a handful of other sponsors. And it's just like, we're just going to show people what we can do.
That's crazy that you're going to skateboard. People are going to skateboard over a $30,000 table.
Not over. They're going to grind it. They're going to skate it. They're going to like ruin it in a sense. But in my eyes, it's going to add to what makes that piece special.
Yeah. It's definitely going to add to
largest, like, I've been working on it for months, just like prepping skateboards. I just glued up the top for it. And just in the top, there's almost 100 skateboards. That's without the legs or anything. And
that's
just
so
one
crazy.
Component of the event. I've been working on the event since last December. So it should be, hopefully everything goes off smoothly, and should be a really good event. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah. Well, I'll show some pictures in a minute of the event layout. But I got some more photos. So like, this is a really cool photo that, obviously some type of ramp, but there's a cool skylight. So tell me about that.
So that's actually at Terminal Takeover as well.
Okay.
In the New Orleans airport. That's the atrium. So that was like, if you're waiting at the gates, that's the center. And that was actually, I fell right there. I had a pretty gnarly fall. I got a gnarly concussion on that.
But you got a great photo.
Great photo. It's totally worth it. Just the slam got over 1 million views.
Oh.
But Yeah, there was like a 13-foot quarter pipe with like 5 feet of vert, and I was ollieing into it. They had to make a deck on it that morning so I could try it. It was crazy. I was like talking. So the night before, we were in the hotel lobby. We're eating some dinner, and I'm talking to some of the guys that were running the event that work for Red Bull, and they were asking me what pieces over the course I wanted to mess with, and I mentioned that one. And I was like, yeah, I wish there was a deck on the top so I could ollie in. So they were like, well, we can do it tomorrow morning. What time are you scheduled to skate it? And I was like, we're scheduled for 9 a.m. tomorrow. So they did. They had their employees there at like 7 in the morning building this deck so I could try this trick. And then this super famous, world-renowned photographer, Jonathan Merring, shout out Merrings, he showed up to shoot it. So I got there and I actually got to the top and I was like, I don't know, guys, this is like real sketchy. I don't know if I got this.
Yeah.
And I started to walk away from it. And then I was like, dude, I can't like live with myself if I don't try it. So I tried it. I almost had it. But one of them, like fully just, if you ollie even 1 inch too far, you're missing that 5 feet of vert and landing into the transition on the bottom.
Yep. And
you really can't decompress from that, which is what happened. So I like ollied in 13 feet, missed the 5 feet of vert, and just went straight to my temple on the floor. The footage of it's like kind of gnarly, but I had
Where's the footage at?
It's on Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, you can find it.
Okay. I'll have to go look for it.
You can find it. I'll show it to you after the show. It's the EMTs like wouldn't clear me for skating, and like I had like maybe 10 minutes of adrenaline before I was unable to skate, and yeah, that took me out for this whole contest.
So I'm gonna cycle through some of these photos a little bit quicker,
sure,
so that we can kind of start to close. But so this is another table. This is a waterfall looking table.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
That one's cool because it features sinker cypress. So
yeah,
cypress that has been like on the bottom of a lake or a river for a long time, and you take it up, you kiln dry it, and then you mill it, and then it get all the, like pecky cypress. That's what sinker cypress is kind of like that. The water erodes the soft parts of the grain, so you get these like holes. Yep. And I filled all the holes with this blue epoxy and then used that as a border for my skateboard. So you get this really, really colorful piece. I love that piece.
Yeah, it looks really nice. And then there's several different tables. This is a cool oval table. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. And then this right here, this is a cool piece. Sculpture. Obviously, it's not a table; it's a sculpture, but what was the inspiration behind this?
A client wanted it. A client was like, yo, I love Snoopy. Joe Cool. I mean, I legally can't call it that, so that's not what it is. But he's like, I love this. Can you make something like this? And I did. It's basically like a giant block of skateboards that I carved into that piece, and it took me a long time. And then from that, I made a few like subsidiary pieces from it to.
How big is that piece? Because I mean, it looks small because I don't have anything.
It's only like 15 inches tall, but it's super detailed. A lot of that just you have to do by hand, so it just took a long time.
And then this is a close-up shot of the detail. I love the colors, like you're talking about. All the
it's super cool. When you look at them in person too, there's more. I'm a nerd, so I could talk about that forever.
Yeah,
I love the way skateboards look. Everything about them.
All right, and then you got some ping pong paddles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, love that.
Yep.
And then this is a cool table. So this is not skateboard, correct?
No, but so that one is primarily walnut, and it has some recycled skateboard inlays, and the top of the legs where they mount to the table are made from skateboards. Okay. I won't do a project. Like I've turned down $10,000 piece projects. If the client won't let me use skateboards, I will not do it. Even if it's like a small inlay, then I'm like, okay, this doesn't like go against my morals as an artist. But that's one of the things that I will not make anything at all if I can't incorporate recycled skateboards into it. Doesn't matter how much you pay me, I won't do it.
So is the reason why you want to use recycled skateboards, and I don't know if we touched on this, is because you're trying to reduce the amount of, I guess, natural resources that you waste?
That's a part of it. That's just a beautiful part of it. But Man, I just love skateboarding. I love skateboarding. I'm a nerd about skateboarding in every sense of the word, and I have been since I first picked one up at age 11. I just, yeah, it's like, yo, I know how to, but it's really hard for me to describe myself without including skateboarding.
Yeah.
So that's my art, like every single piece that I make is going to incorporate skateboards. And one of the coolest things about it is when you see a piece made from skateboards, what you're not seeing is like how many, pick like that bowl that you're looking at has like over 14 skateboards in it. Just take one out and go, how many times did a kid who was experiencing some challenging things in life, maybe in his family or in school or socially or whatever, channeled that and went outside and did kick flips? You know what I mean? Like how many times did that kid walk away from something that could have been negative and go channel it into skateboarding? And that's like a huge thing to me. Like I look at all my pieces and I'm like, damn, every time I finish a piece, I ask myself, like, I wonder how many kickflips are in that piece. Yeah. Some of my pieces feature hundreds of skateboards. Like there's no telling how much like positive energy went into every one of those skateboards that could have been negative. And that's really what I look at it as. Like if I can't incorporate that into a piece, then I don't want to do it. Let somebody else do it. I don't want to. I
love that. I mean, you're right. Cause for a lot of, especially younger people, I know that they've chosen skateboarding as a way of an outlet.
Dude, it was one for me. It kept me away from drugs. Like that's the reason I went to college. Like that's the reason I'm any sort of a success in life. I owe everything to skateboarding. I owe everything to that energy, to being able, like, man, if stuff was going hard, if like I had, girl problems or family problems or work problems or social problems, the answer is always pick up your skateboard, go fucking skate, dude. Just go channel it and go try to get better at that. And that is, I'm not the only one. Like there's millions of kids all over the world do the same thing. And that energy that they put into that goes into my art pieces. It's not just a piece of wood. It's not just like, I mean, I love wood and I love trees, but it's more than that, because it's that plus this. And if I can't incorporate that into a piece, like I said, I don't want to do it. I don't even care. Like it doesn't matter. You could offer me $1 million, $10 million. Like I don't care. Wow. I do not care. It has to incorporate this, because that's fundamentally like at the core of my heart and soul, like 100%.
Dude, I love that you're so passionate about it, because I mean that's what makes all the pieces that you do so special. Is it's not just a passive income.
Oh shit!
It's definitely not passive.
No, you have to be passionate. I mean, dude, for the first 3 years that I did this, I went from having a comfortable salary, full benefits, like living in a nice place downtown Austin, to the first 3 years I did this, like almost daily I'd wake up with under $20 to my name. Like all the time I was broke. I always had work, but like I hadn't figured out how to be profitable yet. And I was still learning how to do this. Like there was a lot of steps along the way. And like, if I didn't have the passion, it didn't make sense even with the passion, but I was like, this is what I'm going to do. So however long I got to do this until it works, like that's fine. This is, like I said, what would you do if you had, that's how I started it. Like, how would you be spending your day if you never had to worry about money and time was of no issue? Well, I'd be making cool shit for the people that I love out of skateboards. Yeah. And that's what I do every single day of my life. And I'm thankful forever for it. And it's not without a ton of challenges, an immense amount of work on every sense of the term. But it's work that matters to me, and I'll do it forever. Like I'll never, ever stop this. I love it, dude. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I can tell. And I love that you love it. Okay, so in the last few photos that we have, I think back in the beginning of the conversation, you were talking about your bike ride around, what was it? You said 1,000 miles?
Yeah, so I did 1,000 miles. I was riding my bike a lot when I was living in my van, frequently doing like 20, 30 miles a day, which I thought was a good bit. And I was like, man, I could do 1,000 miles. I could bike to Austin. I could probably do it in 10 days. I was just like, yeah, if I just wake up in the morning and start pedaling and just don't stop, like, not going to be a problem. Dude, I'm so glad I thought that way, because if I actually knew what it took, I might not have done it, but it led me on this path. And now So 2 weeks ago, I just finished a 500-mile bike ride. I biked from Ruckus in Lafayette, Louisiana, to Relief Skate Supply in Panama City, Florida.
Oh my!
And I raised money to give kids free skateboards.
Wait, so you biked?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was 500 miles. I did it in 6 days.
Nice.
And that was like the third one of those I've done in the last year, where I raised, in the last year, I've raised over $35,000, and I've given it away in the form of free skateboards. And I've worked with skate shops all over Texas, all over the South. Red Bull, I have a Priority Bikes sponsors me they're based in New York. And Element Skateboards sponsored the ride, where we were basically to take the dollars that we raised and buy really nice, like professional grade skateboards at a super reduced cost to stretch the dollars. So if you were to do the math and actually go and purchase the skateboards at retail, I gave over $100,000 of skateboards away, and I didn't make a dime. I did a little bit, but it just kind of covered my expenses. So like, I didn't like profit from it. It's just like, it's important to me, you know, like I remember being that kid. I know that the power, like I know that probably 99% of those kids will pick it up for a little while and never touch it. Yeah. But it's that one kid or that two kids, like they're going to pick it up, and it's going to be everything for them. And they're going to become better humans because of it and make the world better. Like I did. I know I did. I've made the world better just by being here and by living the way that I do. So it's like, if I could do that for one kid, then cool, my mission's done, bro. But I'm just going to try to do it for as many as I can, you know, and that's what I tell myself. You know, I'm on the road pedaling and shit goes wrong, and because I'll do frequently 100 miles a day, and things happen, things go wrong, and I'm out there by myself in the middle of nowhere sometimes, and that's why I do it. I'm like, it's for me. I love riding my bike, but it's really like the shit that keeps me going is you can only go so much for yourself. You have to have something higher than yourself. And definitely. I look at it like that. I think of the kids that are like, have family problems, or like, you know, seeing just the shit that they shouldn't be seeing, but they are, and they're having to deal with it and cope with it. And I think about those kids. I'm like, dude, if that kid had a skateboard, maybe he wouldn't turn to drugs. You know what I mean? Yeah. Maybe he wouldn't do something that puts him in prison. Like maybe he keeps his grades up, you know what I mean? So he doesn't get punished. So he can keep skateboarding, and then that brings him to college, and then he does something like passionate. And I don't know. I think about all that, and that is really the reason, like that keeps me pedaling, dude. Keeps me like forging forward.
Yeah. I love it. Well, what did you do for sleep? Like, where did you stay? And so 6 days.
The very first ride, I packed all my camping gear. I thought I was going to camp.
Oh, yeah.
But now I know better. I just stay at Airbnbs and hotels because every single day after I finish, I take an ice bath.
Yeah, you need to.
You need to. You know what I mean? Like camping, like getting like lack of or not proper sleep after biking 100+ miles in heat you shouldn't do it.
Yeah, because I mean the wear and tear. I mean, you need to be able to recuperate.
Yeah, it's gnarlier than I knew, and gnarlier than most people.
I mean, I thought about this in the beginning of the podcast. Like you pull straight up Forrest Gumps.
100%. I feel like Forrest
without
Gump.
running. Yeah.
No, like I mean, dude, when I biked through West Texas, there was days where like I remember one day I didn't see a human for 9 hours. And at the beginning of the day, I was like biking into nothing, and then I Google Maps because I use Google Maps. It just tells me where to go, and it's like take a right, and then I took a right on this gravel road, and it just said continue for 73 miles.
Oh,
I'm like, damn! Like I had to pack water. I had 3 gallons of water on me, which is crazy. I drank like 4 gallons of water that day, and I peed twice. Like my body's just like using it. I'm burning like 12 to 15,000 calories a day. But I'll just be in the middle of nothing. And like, there are times where I feel like Forrest Gump. Like I remember I was on this road either in Southeast Colorado. I don't think I'd gotten to Oklahoma yet. I think it was Southeast Colorado where I posted a picture of my bike and this just like crazy empty expansive road that you could just see where it meets the horizon. And I sat there for like 15 minutes. I was like, dude, I could play a game of chess with myself and nobody would come.
Yeah.
And sometimes I find myself in places like that, and sometimes shit goes wrong in places like that, like mechanical issues or physical issues or whatever, road issues and weather, you know, all that. And I I don't know. I enjoy the challenge. I enjoy the solitude. A lot of times I plan my life out on those things. Like everyone, time moves so differently when you have to work for every single minute and every single step, like forward step. It moves slowly, like to where that 6-day trip that I just did 2 weeks ago, dude, that's a chapter of my life.
Yeah.
It was just a week for anybody else, but like, dude, I worked for every single mile. I had all sorts of issues and road issues, and like there's a voice in your head always that you gotta battle, that wants you to quit, that wants wants to take.
There's always that voice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's there every day. I battle that voice every day, and I pretty much win every single day. But that voice never goes away. It's always there.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've told myself, today's the day you're gonna quit developing Lafayette. Like, you're gonna quit. I'm like, no, not gonna quit. Like, I've done made it this far. Like, I gotta keep going.
Yeah, those bike rides have. I mean, I have a mental fortitude that I'm really proud of, but it's because of that, like, being in super challenging situations. And then of course it's easier to quit, but when you finish that, it's hard to explain, man, until you do it. It's just like, you go, well, shit, I did that. I could do anything. You know what I mean? Like, I did that. Like, I could do anything. And,
well, it's just like going back to Forrest Gump.
mm-hmm.
And I love quoting parts of movies, but he basically got up off of his little patio, started running to the end of the driveway. And he said, I got this far, I might as well keep on going. And then he ran to the edge of town and got there, might as well keep on going. And then to the edge of the county, and so on and so forth, to the point where he, I know it's just a movie, but
no, it's a great movie, Forrest Gump.
Yeah, and running back and forth across the country to the point to where, people took notice, news, and money was being raised and all this good stuff. And he was helping people out with their issues while running. And I feel like that is a very real world situation that you're putting yourself in. And I'm pretty sure you didn't think, oh, I'm gonna pull a Forrest Gump today. But
no, the first one I did, I just like I said, I woke up at 3 a.m. and my brain went to, I want to bike across the country. And it was just like, sometimes I feel this internal pull that I just can't ignore. It was scary, and I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I did it on a 3-speed cruiser with a coaster brake. So I didn't even have like real brakes.
Oh no.
And I was wearing swim trunks and skate shoes, dude. And
you just got on and going.
I just was like, yeah, I could do this. And I had I almost ruptured both of my Achilles. I broke 9 spokes because my wheel was misaligned. And if you break spokes on the road, it causes all sorts of issues. I had an egg in my tire up here on this really rocky road, and the egg got so big that it wouldn't pass through my fork, so I had to call the cops on myself, because they're the only, like, there was like the nearest town was like 40 miles away. I had to I called the Lafayette Police Department. Shout out Deputy Cade at Lafayette Police Department. I'll never forget it. It's the only time I ever ridden in a cop car, dude.
That's good.
I rode in a cop car, and he brought me back to where I started, and I paid like a friend of a friend of a friend to come get me and drive me 150 miles to a bike shop. And I got my bike repaired, and then I got back on the road and then biked another 300 miles. But yeah, there's definitely a Forrest Gump feel to it for sure. But it's so special. Like, I love that, man. You know what I'm thinking about when I'm pedaling?
What?
That. Like, I'm pedaling, dude. Like, I'm there, and I'm designing my life, but I'm there. I'm in the moment. I'm struggling. It's hard. Even now, where I'm like kind of eating these rides, like, dude, it's not chill. It's not mellow. Like, I'm pretty sure
there are moments where it can be, but like, for the most part, you got to keep yourself like in that groove of just keep going.
I got to eat right. I got to do yoga throughout the day, before the day, throughout the day, like stretching. It's a challenge.
What about going number 2? Did you not have to do that, or like?
No, yeah, dude. It's like Forrest Gump, dude. When I had to go,
right,
I went.
Right.
And however that looks, that might be on a bush somewhere in the back country, or it might be Circle K somewhere, or it might be, I remember one time I ran out of water. I was in, I think I was in West Texas. I ran out of water, and I had to stop and like knock on somebody's door to ask to fill up my bottles out of their hose. And it was like this child came to the door, and I don't know if they're home alone, but I was like, I'm so sorry to bother you, little one, but I'm biking across the country. I'm out of water. Would you mind if I filled my water jugs up at your spigot? And it was cool, but it was just like, that's kind of weird, dude. They live in the middle of nowhere, and like they probably
all of a sudden a guy shows up on a bike.
On a bike, dude. It was, I don't know. Yeah, it's a real special thing for me. I don't plan on stopping. And everyone, like, after I did that first one, I did another one. I did a sub-freezing ride from Louisiana or Lafayette to New Orleans. I did that in 2 days. The whole ride, I left my house, and it was 14 degrees. It was the coldest weekend of the year last year. It had like a wind chill of it felt like -7.
Oh no.
Every 10 miles, I had to check to make sure my toes weren't getting hypothermia. The second day,
you didn't have snot like frozen to your
100%,
cheek.
100%. Yeah, dude, it was gross, but I did it. And on that ride, I decided that, all right, I did this. How can I like do good with this?
Yeah.
How can I like, this is getting attention. I was like, how can I use this to do good? And what type of good do I want to do? And the easiest thing was like, I want to give kids skateboards. Like, that'll change somebody's life. It'll probably not mean shit to most of the people, but there's a couple in there that like, yo, dude, I changed that kid's life. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. With the help of all the skate shops and Red Bull and Element and Priority and all the people along the way, like, there's real change that comes from that. It might not be noticeable now, but like, give it 5 years.
Yeah.
There's going to be a kid that comes up to me who's as into it as I am and is going to be like, hey man, I got my first skateboard from you. And it's that came from these bike rides. So that hope of the kid coming up to me and telling me that's like so huge.
I know
that is, it's like, I don't know.
I know what you're doing is great. I love that. I want to go ahead and touch real quick on your skate event, and I'm going to try to pull up my website here in just a second. Let's see.
I don't know if you have I can send you a 3D render video. I don't know if you can showcase a video on here.
Not since I've already started. Because I won't be able to pull it in without restarting this program. Okay, so this is on our website. If you just go to our website and search skateboarding event, you'll see it. But this is the Barousse Works Invitational. Mm-hmm. And this is some of the renderings that you can see on your screen there. So this is in downtown Lafayette, right in front of Ruckus and then Lanyap Records. If you know where the old, I think it was a Karma Club, now the OM, it's right there. You also have Miss Reba's in that area, so really cool businesses in that area. It's really cool that this is sponsored by Red Bull. You mentioned Red Bull many, many times.
Yeah, they kind of like back me with whatever I do. I'm not a Red Bull athlete, and they can't technically sign an artist right now unless you're a musical artist. But Red Bull does a wonderful job at hiring amazing humans, and that's why I work with them. Everybody that works there, from the head of North America sports marketing, so he's the big dog. He told me, we just want to see cool people do cool shit. Yeah. So like, they're fully in support of what I do, and because of that, I'm grateful. They've made a lot possible, and they've done a lot for the skate community in the Southeast, a ton actually. So, but yeah, the premise of this is I'm making this like massive. It's going to be the largest dining table ever made from skateboards so far. It'll be 13 feet. And we're going to shut down the 200 and 300 block of Jefferson Street downtown. And we are paying for, I think we have 18 skate shops coming in. Every skate shop will have 4 guys that'll be skating in the event, plus a few like a filmer, a photographer. And they're going to come skate this table in the middle of the street, as well as a few other obstacles. And I'm using this as like, okay, how can I make it to where businesses can eat? Like how can I, so you see, like, we're in front of all these businesses, like all these businesses are tied into the event. Miss Reba's is going to have a really cool special obstacle that's going to come out. It's going to be the Miss Reba's Rail Jam. Nice. Obviously Ruckus is plugged heavy. Lanyap Records is going to be doing something. I think the after party is going to be over at Bolt, which will be fun. And the premise is just like, yo, I'm going to do this, and I'm okay to not get anything from this. Like, it's just use it as a marketing thing, but like, how can I make it to where everybody else wins? You know, like I want everybody to feel like they're winning. So the 200 block will be the course, and the 300 block is going to be set up for local artists and vendors. And we're basically going to have like a mini art walk. It allows people to come in and, you know, make money off of the traffic. You know, I want, that's part of what makes Lafayette cool to me. Like, we have the ability, because we're a smaller city, we have the ability to like shuck and jive and move in ways that other larger cities couldn't. Like, you couldn't shut down the main street in Austin, Texas. Dude.
No, but you can here.
I mean, you could, but it costs you a few $1,000,000. Like, here, that's one of the things that makes Lafayette super cool. Everybody now that I've talked to is forward thinking and ready to make Lafayette cool. So I'm really grateful for downtown Lafayette. Shout out Anita and Anna Laura. And I'm really grateful for Lafayette Travel. Because they see the same vision. They're like, yeah, you know, Lafayette historically hasn't been the coolest, and we might have been backwards or small-minded thinking, but now people are like, really, they're wanting to support, and this is the way that I'm going to do it, you know. And if this should be pretty good, and then we'll do it again next year, but slightly different.
Awesome. I saw in the renderings there's the Tesla truck. Is that actually going to be there?
No,
okay.
They don't have a Tesla
Dang,
truck.
all right.
That was just a render. They were, I'm not sure if we're going to have an event vehicle there or not. We're supposed to get one from Texas that was being built in LA, but I don't think it's going to be done in time. So the vehicle might just be a Red Bull DJ booth, which is like the same thing. Because the truck is basically a giant DJ booth. It has like an MC system on it and giant speakers. So we'll see. But there's still a couple moving parts, but everything else is going to be pretty much like by the render. Like, the course will be the same as the renders. There'll be bleachers, there'll be tents set up. The second half will be for art vendors and food vendors, and hopefully, you know, I can create something that makes people some money, and hopefully they can make money doing what they love. You know, that's what I want to do. You know, I definitely feel, after coming back to Lafayette for being gone for a while, I feel a social economic responsibility to help make my city cool. So I'm doing whatever I can to do that. And some of that's like supporting like the people who work for me, you know, like I make sure they get paid well, like definitely more than they could at some restaurant or something like that, you know? And anything that I do, I try to design to where everybody wins. Like, so for the bike ride, for instance, like if I do a bike ride, like I get to ride my bike, but then I incorporate brands to where they get marketing off of that. I incorporate skate shops to where they get marketing off of that. And then I work with those skate shops and the brands to raise money. And then through those skate shops, we make the kids come into the skate shops to get the free skateboards. So it brings in potential customers. And they see, oh, okay, this first skateboard I got is an Element skateboard. So that helps Element. And they see that it's like sponsored by Red Bull. And they're like, oh, I want to drink a Red Bull. And then they see that it's at No Comply in Austin, Texas, or Ruckus in Lafayette, or whatever skate shop. They go in there, and that's a potential customer, you know, because skateboarding is like, when you walk into a skate shop, there's this almost you're kind of nervous as a young kid when you walk into a skate shop. You know, these people are so just different, and that removes that. You know, it makes it easier. The barrier to entry is kind of removed. You know, and so the kids win, the shop wins, the community wins, the brands win, and I get to ride my bike.
Yeah,
I win.
Yeah. So before we close out, with all the stuff that you do with your company, and then the treks across different parts of the country with your bike and raising money, have you ever met some of your, I don't want to say idols, but like people that are well known in the industry, whether that be skateboarding or biking? Obviously, you've worked with companies that are very well known. So like, if you could name a couple of people that are like inspirational people to you that help drive you to be who you are, who would those people be?
I mean, some of the people are just, you know, people that you won't even know. Like my friend Devin Chris, dude, he's like one of the most exemplary humans I've ever known in my life. Like he inspires me a ton. Just he's a good. He doesn't do wrong. He's just a good human. David Goggins, I don't know if anybody knows who that is, but he's like an ultra marathon runner. And I heard about him. My friend Ronnie told me about him like 15 years ago. And he just like, he just believes that like when you think you're done, when you think you're tapped out, you're really only at 40% of your capability. Wow. So that's really, I haven't met him, but that's one that I definitely want to meet him and shake his hand. There's pro skateboarders along the way that I've met, you know, and they all inspire me in some way. My friend Kale Siraj, shout out Kale. He inspires me because I see what you can do with social media. I'm like, okay, like I've seen this guy like sign multiple tens of thousands of dollar contracts for social media. Yeah. Like that's inspiring. My friend Yusheen, he's a glass artist. I'm not super close with him, but dude, he inspires me because he makes like, he makes glass pieces and he makes like he makes over $2 million a year, like making stuff in his basement. So I'm like, okay, I basically want to combine like that trajectory with like Kale's trajectory and just like merge like social media with like art. And I just want to get to a point where I can use my resources. Like I'm good. I'm already doing what I want to do. Like I could do this selfishly. I could like never give away and do this and be happy for the rest of my life. But that's like small-minded. I'm trying to get to a point where I can really create opportunity for the people that I love and care about. Like real opportunity, not like just, okay, here you can pay your bills. Like, no, dude, I want you to be able to create opportunity for your people. Yeah. Like I want you to be able to have enough resources to be able to give the kid that you know that I don't know something, or give your aunt, you know what I mean? Like I've already hit the point where I'm like, I'm good for the rest of my life. I'm chilling. But that's so small. Like, why stop there? Like, why not go huge? You know, like aim for the stars. And if you miss, you'll hit the moon. And that's kind of how I look at the whole thing. Like, yeah, like I just want to get this to where it's at a point where I can utilize my time, energy, and resources to make my city sick, dude. Like, I want this place to fucking rule. And I think the way to do that is to like give the power to the people. Yeah. So that's like my mission is just to like, you know, and I'm not going to do it by sacrificing myself. I'm going to do what I love, and I'm going to create opportunity for the ones that I love along the way. And even people that I don't love. Like I want everybody to win, dude. I don't wish bad upon anybody. Like I really want to, you know, people say it all the time, but like when I die, I want to know that this place is better because I existed, and then I'm cool. I don't feel like I need to come back at that point.
Wow, man, that's a great way to close out the episode, because I really appreciate you coming on, and like you've said a lot more than I thought I was gonna get into this conversation. Like I was like, oh, he's just gonna like talk about, you know, pressing skateboards together and cutting them. And
that's like that's a huge part of what I do, but that's like such a small part, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just like,
that's why I'm thankful that I have you on, because I knew that there had to be like a deeper thing to this guy. I was like, there's a reason why he's using the skateboards. Like
there's facets for sure. Yeah. There's facets to everything that I do, and you can get like, you know, I can romanticize it all because it's what I love, dude. Like people get romantic about the things that they love, and dude, I love my life. Like I love the life that I've designed. It's super challenging, and I work way more than people would believe. It's crazy, but I have a purpose. Like I know my purpose. I know why I'm here, and yeah, I'm just on this mission, you know. So I'm thankful for sure.
I'm thankful that you came on and helped us learn a little bit more about you. And hopefully, if you guys want to check out his work, his website is barousseworks.com, BAROUSSEWORKS.com. Just Google it, barousseworks.com.
You can look that up you can go to the website or on any social media platform. I'm there, and you'll find my stuff. It's not hard to find. If you just search hashtag recycled skateboards, you should be able to find
You're on
it.
TikTok too, right?
Oh yeah. I'm on everything.
Okay.
I post on 7 platforms 6 days a week. So
yeah.
you'll see me.
All right. Well, Daniel, thank you for taking the time out to come on and talk about what you do. And it's very inspirational because I love to bike ride, but I have not bike ridden in a long time. And knowing that you literally just went to Panama City Beach freaking on a bike in 6 days has me going like, okay, I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing enough.
No, that was a shout out Relief Skate Supply, Daniel at Relief, and Ronnie and Devin and Jalen ever at Ruckus, and Ralph at Ruckus here. I'm thankful. Thanks for having me, dude. Yeah. Appreciate you.
Well, cool, man. Well, good luck with everything, and I can't wait to see how the event goes and your future endeavors from there.
Thanks, sir.
All right.
Appreciate you.
All right, y'all have a good one, and that is the episode.